How to Fix Your Attention Span, written and published by Listen, Grow, Sleep. Let me be honest, I don't trust your attention span to not wander away. Even after hours and hours of hard work and thinking of how to help you, I'm pressured to add little hooks, engaging stories, and entertaining anecdotes just to keep you listening. Hold up. If you're already thinking about skipping ahead or listening to this on 2x speed, you really need this audiobook more than anyone. You know what's crazy? You want to improve yourself, achieve your goals, and live up to your potential, but you're making it 10 times harder by allowing your attention to fragment into 1,000 pieces. Studies show that people with shorter attention spans tend to perform worse on tasks, struggle to retain information long term, and have a harder time connecting disparate ideas into cohesive understanding. That, my friend, changes today. I'm here to tell you that a longer attention span makes you more efficient, effective, and yes, even smarter. It's far more crucial than any productivity hack or study technique you've tried before. If you're only half interested in fixing your mind, then this audiobook isn't for you. This is for those who are truly committed to living up to their fullest potential and excelling in both work and life. If you're serious, I challenge you to listen to this audiobook without distractions. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Find a quiet space and listen at normal speed. I challenge you to be fully present. You'll understand why this matters so much as we continue. By the end of this audiobook, you'll discover how small, practical shifts in your daily habits can dramatically expand your attention span. Together, we'll explore the science behind focus, dive into real stories, both historical and personal, and unpack actionable strategies that will help you reclaim your mind in an age of endless distraction. Ready to take back control of your attention? Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Attention Crisis. They call it the age of distraction, and for good reason. We carry entire universes of distraction in our pockets. A quick check of Instagram, a few minutes scrolling through TikTok, responding to texts, diving into news feeds, or playing just one more round of a simple game. When you add it all up, these micro distractions can consume hours each day, often without us even noticing. But why are we so easily distracted? The answer, in large part, lies in how our brains have adapted to modern technology. Our minds are naturally drawn to novelty and instant gratification, qualities that our digital devices deliver in endless supply. Yet in our hyper-connected world, we're bombarded with stimuli that fragment our attention into smaller and smaller pieces. The more we indulge in quick-hit digital content, the more our brains crave that next dopamine rush, and the harder it becomes to focus on anything for an extended period. A quick glimpse into history. Picture life just a few decades ago, before smartphones, before social media, before the internet dominated every aspect of our lives. Our grandparents and even our parents faced plenty of distractions: television, radio, newspapers, but they also enjoyed natural pockets of boredom and quiet that allowed their minds to wander, reflect, and rest. If you think about it, even 20 years ago, waiting in line meant simply waiting. Commuting meant looking out the window or perhaps reading a book. Dinner conversations weren't interrupted by notification pings. These moments of mental downtime weren't seen as problems to be solved with entertainment. They were just normal parts of life that allowed the mind to process information and recharge. Now, every spare second is an opportunity to check your phone. Every moment of potential boredom is immediately filled with stimulation. The result? Our collective attention span has shrunk dramatically. Research suggests the average attention span has decreased from 12 seconds in 2000 to just 8 seconds today, shorter than that of a goldfish. My own wake-up call. A few years ago, I found myself in what I can only describe as a constant state of mental fragmentation. I'd sit down to work on an important project, but within minutes I'd feel an irresistible urge to check my phone. What started as just a quick peek would turn into 20 minutes of mindless scrolling. By day's end, I'd feel exhausted, yet strangely unfulfilled, like I'd been busy all day, but hadn't actually accomplished anything meaningful. My productivity plummeted. my creativity vanished. And most concerning, I noticed that even during conversations with friends or family, part of my mind was always elsewhere, wondering what I might be missing online, or simply unable to focus on the person right in front of me. That's when I realized I needed to reclaim my attention span, not just for productivity's sake, but for my overall quality of life. I began researching, experimenting, and developing strategies to rebuild my capacity for sustained focus. The transformation wasn't immediate, but over time, I discovered that attention span isn't fixed. It's a skill that can be strengthened with the right approach. Why fix your attention span? Improving your attention span isn't about becoming a productivity machine or denying yourself the pleasures of modern technology. It's about regaining control, a way to ensure that you're choosing where your focus goes, rather than having it constantly hijacked by the loudest, brightest, or newest stimulus. Think of it like fitness training for your mind. You're not trying to never rest. You're building the mental strength to stay engaged when it matters most. When you strengthen your attention span, your baseline ability to focus improves. Over time, activities that once seemed boring or tedious, reading a book, completing a work project, or having an in-depth conversation, become not just manageable, but genuinely enjoyable. You may also find your memory improving, your stress levels decreasing, and your creative thinking flourishing, as your mind is no longer trapped in a cycle of constant stimulation and distraction. Common misconceptions. I just have a naturally short attention span. While some people may be more predisposed to distractibility, attention span is largely a developed skill, not a fixed trait. Just like physical exercise can strengthen any body, mental exercise can strengthen any mind. I need to multitask to be productive. Research consistently shows that multitasking is a myth. What we call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, which reduces efficiency and increases errors on all tasks involved. I can't change because modern life requires constant connectivity. Being strategic about your attention doesn't mean disconnecting completely. It means being intentional about when and how you engage with technology, so it enhances rather than diminishes your life. You're listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Listen, Grow, Sleep. Let's continue our journey toward reclaiming your focus and mental clarity. Chapter 2. The Science of Attention. Attention is often called our brain's spotlight, but that term can be misleading. In reality, it's a complex cognitive process that influences how we perceive, process, and respond to the world around us. At its core, attention helps us filter the constant stream of information bombarding our senses, allowing us to focus on what's relevant and ignore what's not. This filtering system used to help us survive, spotting predators or finding food. Today, though, it can be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of stimuli competing for our awareness. In your brain, attention works like a network of control systems. Whenever you focus on something, whether it's reading these words or listening to a friend's story, specific neural pathways activate to enhance processing of that information while suppressing distractions. You feel a sense of engagement, maybe just a hint, urging you to stay with the task at hand. Think of the feeling you get when you're completely absorbed in a fascinating conversation or book. That sense of flow, it's your attention system working optimally. The attention network. Neuroscientists often talk about the executive attention network. It sounds technical, but the concept is simple. This neural system helps you maintain focus on goals despite distractions. When this network functions well, it tells you, stay on task, this matters. It's a survival mechanism evolved for sustained hunting or gathering, now repurposed for modern tasks like studying or working. The mind is constantly balancing focus against distraction. Historically, that made sense. Spotting a predator in the distance, tracking game through a forest, or identifying edible plants among poisonous ones, these all required sustained attention. That focused state motivated our ancestors to remain vigilant, ensuring survival. But in a world of endless notifications, it's easier than ever to fragment our attention. Suddenly, tasks that used to engage us fully, reading a book, having a conversation, or completing a project lose their grip because our brains are conditioned for constant novelty. When attention gets hijacked. The trouble isn't that attention itself is faulty, it's that we're surrounded by technologies specifically designed to capture and hold it. Social media platforms are engineered to trigger dopamine releases with every notification. Streaming services automatically play the next episode. News sites use alarming headlines to keep you clicking. Before long, the brain's attention system becomes overwhelmed and fragmented. This can lead to a paradoxical outcome. The more you expose yourself to quick-hit digital stimulation, the less capable you become of sustained focus. What once felt engaging, following a complex argument, reading a challenging book, or listening attentively to a lecture, becomes unbearably boring. The brain has adapted to high-intensity, rapidly changing stimuli. Attention and dopamine. You've likely heard of dopamine, often called the reward chemical, but its relationship with attention is frequently misunderstood. Dopamine doesn't just make you feel good, it plays a crucial role in directing and maintaining attention toward potentially rewarding activities. Every time you receive a notification, your brain releases a small burst of dopamine, creating a sense of anticipation and reward. This isn't inherently problematic. Dopamine is essential for motivation and learning. The issue arises when your brain becomes accustomed to these frequent, easy dopamine hits from digital distractions. Over time, this creates what neuroscientists call reward prediction error. Your brain begins to expect constant stimulation and novelty. When faced with tasks that offer delayed gratification, like reading a complex book or learning a new skill, the relative absence of immediate dopamine makes these activities feel increasingly difficult and unrewarding. This explains why many people find themselves unable to focus on longer, more meaningful tasks despite genuinely wanting to. Their attention systems have been conditioned to seek the next quick hit of novelty rather than settling into sustained focus. Signs of attention fragmentation. Difficulty starting tasks. You procrastinate on important work because your brain resists the initial effort required to engage with something that doesn't provide immediate stimulation. Constant task switching. You jump between multiple activities without completing any of them, checking email while on a call, or toggling between different browser tabs. Mindless reaching for devices. You find yourself picking up your phone dozens of times per day without any specific purpose, often not even remembering why you reached for it. Inability to finish books or long articles. You start reading with good intentions, but find your mind wandering after a few paragraphs, or you skim rather than deeply process the content. Zoning out during conversations. You realize you've missed portions of what someone was saying because your mind drifted to unrelated thoughts. The neuroplasticity of attention. Here's the good news. Your brain's attention networks aren't fixed. Thanks to neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, you can literally rewire your attention systems through consistent practice. Think of attention like a muscle. Just as physical exercise strengthens your body, attentional exercise strengthens your focus. Each time you catch yourself getting distracted and deliberately return to the task at hand, you're building neural pathways that support sustained attention. Over time, maintaining focus becomes less effortful and more natural. This is why the strategies we'll explore in later chapters work so effectively. They're not just behavioral tricks, they're exercises that physically reshape your brain's attention networks. With consistent practice, you can reverse the fragmentation caused by our distraction-heavy digital environment. The Goldilocks principle of attention. Optimal attention isn't about maintaining laser focus 100% of the time. That would be exhausting and counterproductive. Instead, it follows what psychologists call the Goldilocks principle. Not too relaxed, not too intense, but just right. Your attention naturally fluctuates throughout the day based on factors like energy levels, interest, and the nature of the task. The goal isn't to force constant concentration, but to develop the capacity to direct your attention intentionally, rather than having it constantly pulled away by external stimuli. This balanced approach recognizes that different activities require different types of attention. Sometimes you need deep, sustained focus for complex work. Other times, a more relaxed, open awareness is appropriate for creative thinking or social interactions. The key is having the flexibility to adjust your attentional state based on what the situation requires, rather than being at the mercy of whatever grabs your attention in the moment. Looking ahead to Chapter 3, we'll explore practical strategies for rebuilding your attention span, starting with simple daily habits that create the foundation for stronger focus. You'll learn how to gradually train your brain to resist distractions and engage more deeply with meaningful activities, just as you would train your body to run longer distances or lift heavier weights. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. Every small improvement in your ability to focus compounds over time, leading to significant changes in how you experience and engage with the world. The journey toward reclaiming your attention begins with understanding its mechanics. And now that you do, you're ready to take the first practical steps. You're listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Listen, Grow, Sleep. Let's continue our journey toward reclaiming your focus and mental clarity. Chapter 3, the 8 Essential Strategies. Imagine deciding to step off the endless carousel of distraction. One moment, you're spinning between apps, notifications, and fragmented thoughts. The next, you're standing on solid ground, ready to experience what life feels like with a reclaimed attention span. That's what this chapter is about, choosing to pause the ride, catch your breath, and rebuild your capacity for sustained focus through practical, actionable strategies. Improving your attention span might sound daunting, but it can be broken down into simple, realistic steps. In this chapter, we'll explore 8 essential strategies that, when implemented consistently, can transform your relationship with attention and help you reclaim control of your mind. Strategy 1. Close dynamic tabs. One of the most insidious attention thieves is the constant presence of dynamic tabs. Those browser tabs that update in real time with new messages, emails, or notifications. Each update creates a visual cue that pulls your attention away from whatever you're working on, even if you don't consciously decide to check it. The solution is surprisingly simple. Close these tabs when you're trying to focus. If you use platforms like Facebook Messenger, Slack, or email, keep those tabs closed during focused work periods. Instead, designate specific times to check for new messages. I noticed this in my own work. Even with notifications turned off, I found myself habitually clicking on my email tab every few minutes just to check, interrupting my flow and fragmenting my attention. Once I started closing my email tab completely, I found I could work for much longer stretches without that nagging urge to check for updates. This small change creates a mental boundary that helps your brain understand. Now is time for focused work, not reactive communication. You're training yourself to be intentional about when you engage with potentially distracting platforms, rather than allowing them to dictate your attention. Strategy 2. Minimize multitasking. Despite what many of us believe about our abilities, the human brain is not designed for multitasking. What we call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and it comes with a significant cognitive cost. Each time you switch between tasks, your brain needs time to reorient, resulting in what psychologists call attention residue, where part of your mind remains stuck on the previous task even as you move to the next one. This constant switching not only reduces your efficiency, but also trains your brain to resist sustained focus. It's like trying to drive a car while repeatedly shifting between first and second gear. You'll burn more fuel and make less progress than if you simply maintained a steady speed. The solution? Embrace monotasking. When you're reading, just read. When you're in a conversation, be fully present in that conversation. When you're working on a project, close unnecessary tabs and apps. If you catch yourself trying to do multiple things at once, like watching a video while reading comments or texting while in a meeting, gently redirect your attention to just one activity. This might feel uncomfortable at first. Our brains have become accustomed to constant stimulation, and focusing on just one thing might initially feel boring or insufficient. Push through this discomfort. With practice, you'll discover that monotasking actually leads to greater enjoyment and effectiveness in whatever you're doing. Strategy 3. Create no-phone zones. Our smartphones have become extensions of ourselves, always within reach, constantly demanding attention. Creating physical boundaries around when and where you use your phone can dramatically improve your attention span by giving your brain regular breaks from the constant pull of digital stimulation. Designate specific areas in your life as no-phone zones. No phone in the bathroom? Yes, this is a common habit that fragments attention. No phone in the bedroom, to prevent endless scrolling before sleep. No phone at the dinner table, to foster genuine connection with others. These boundaries might seem arbitrary, but they serve an important purpose. They create pockets of your day where your attention is naturally allowed to rest or focus on just one thing. They also help break the unconscious habit of reaching for your phone whenever you experience even a moment of boredom or discomfort. I implemented this strategy by keeping my phone in a drawer in another room while working. The physical distance created just enough friction to break the automatic checking habit. Within days, I noticed I was able to work for longer periods without feeling the anxious pull toward my device. Strategy 4. Use the "I'll do it after X" technique. Distractions don't just come from devices, they also arise from within our own minds. You might be focused on a task when suddenly you remember an email you need to send, a bill you need to pay, or an idea for another project. These internal distractions can be just as disruptive as external ones. The "I'll do it after X" technique is a simple but powerful way to manage these mental interruptions. When a distracting thought arises, quickly jot it down on a piece of paper or digital note and explicitly tell yourself, "I'll address this after I complete current task." For example, if you're working through a report and suddenly remember you need to schedule a dentist appointment, write down "schedule dentist" and tell yourself, "I'll do this after I finish section 2 of my report." This technique works because it addresses the underlying anxiety that makes distractions so compelling. The fear that we'll forget something important. By writing it down, you assure your brain that the thought won't be lost, allowing you to refocus on your current task without that nagging worry. It also reinforces the critical understanding that you're in control of your attention. Notifications, random thoughts, and other people's requests don't own your time. You decide when to address them. This sense of agency is fundamental to rebuilding a strong attention span. Strategy 5. Automate focus periods. Technology may be a primary source of distraction, but it can also be leveraged to protect your attention. Most smartphones now offer features that automatically limit distractions during designated periods. On iPhones, the focus mode allows you to set specific times when notifications are silenced. You can create custom schedules for work hours, sleep time, or any other period when you want to minimize interruptions. Similar features exist on Android devices and most computers. The power of automation is that it removes the need for constant willpower. Rather than having to remember to silence your phone each time you want to focus, you can set it once and let technology handle the rest. This creates a consistent environment for attention training without requiring constant conscious effort. I found it particularly helpful to set an automatic wind-down period that begins an hour before my intended bedtime. During this time, my phone automatically enters Do Not Disturb mode, reducing the temptation for late-night scrolling and helping my mind transition toward rest. Strategy 6. Cultivate curiosity during wait times. Modern life is filled with small waiting periods, standing in line, sitting in a waiting room, commuting on public transportation. Most people immediately fill these moments by reaching for their phones, training their brains to expect constant stimulation and reinforcing short attention patterns. Instead, try using these moments to practice mindful awareness and curiosity. Look around and really observe your environment. Notice the architecture of the building you're in. Watch the interactions between people nearby, or simply focus on your breathing and bodily sensations. This practice serves two important purposes. First, it breaks the habit of reflexively seeking digital stimulation whenever there's a moment of potential boredom. Second, It trains your brain to find interest and engagement in the present moment, a fundamental skill for sustained attention. I started practicing this while waiting for coffee at my local cafe. Instead of immediately pulling out my phone, I began observing the barista's techniques, the design elements of the space, and the diverse customers around me. Not only did this make the wait time more interesting, but I found that this habit of present moment curiosity began to extend to other areas of my life, enhancing my ability to stay engaged with whatever I was doing. Strategy 7. Consume long-form content. In a world dominated by short-form content, TikTok videos, Instagram reels, tweet threads, our brains are increasingly conditioned to expect information in bite-sized pieces. This trains our attention systems to resist anything that requires sustained engagement. Deliberately consuming long-form content is like strength training for your attention span. Start with videos or podcasts that run for 30 minutes or more, and challenge yourself to watch or listen at normal speed without skipping ahead. As this becomes comfortable, graduate to longer articles, essays, and eventually books. The key is to engage actively with this content, not just passively consuming it while your mind wanders. For podcasts, practice summarizing the main points in your mind. For books, pause occasionally to reflect on what you've read. This active engagement strengthens the neural pathways that support sustained attention. I began this practice by listening to hour-long podcasts during my daily walks, with a rule that I couldn't check my phone until the episode was complete. Initially challenging, this practice gradually extended my comfortable focus duration from about 10 minutes to well over an hour. Strategy 8. Practice deep engagement. The final strategy moves beyond avoiding distractions to actively cultivating the skill of deep engagement. Whatever content you consume, whether it's a book, article, video, or conversation, practice engaging with it fully and thoughtfully. Instead of skimming an article, read it carefully and consider how it connects to your existing knowledge. After watching an educational video, take a moment to summarize the key points in your own words. During conversations, practice active listening, focusing completely on understanding the other person rather than planning what you'll say next. This deep engagement serves as both practice for sustained attention and a way to derive more value from everything you do. By processing information more thoroughly, you'll retain it better and make more meaningful connections between ideas. I found that writing brief reflections after reading articles or books dramatically improves both my attention during reading and my retention afterward. The knowledge that I'll need to articulate my thoughts helps keep my mind from wandering, and the act of synthesis strengthens my ability to think deeply about complex topics. Implementing these strategies. The key to success with these strategies isn't trying to perfect all 8 simultaneously. Start with just 1 or 2 that resonate most strongly with your particular challenges. Practice them consistently for a few weeks before adding more. Remember that rebuilding your attention span is a gradual process. You're literally rewiring neural pathways in your brain, and that takes time. You'll likely experience setbacks, moments when you fall back into old patterns of distraction. That's normal and expected. The important thing is to notice when it happens and gently redirect yourself back to your practice. Looking ahead to Chapter 4, we'll explore how to navigate the emotional challenges that often arise when changing your relationship with attention. Many people experience anxiety, FOMO, fear of missing out, or restlessness when they first reduce digital stimulation. Understanding and preparing for these emotional responses is crucial for long-term success in reclaiming your attention span. The strategies we've covered in this chapter provide the practical foundation for that journey. By implementing them consistently, you're not just changing habits, you're rebuilding your brain's fundamental capacity for sustained, meaningful engagement with the world around you. You're listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Listen, Grow, Sleep. Let's continue our journey toward reclaiming your focus and mental clarity. Chapter 4. Navigating the Emotional Landscape. Let's talk about something that most attention improvement guides completely ignore: the emotional roller coaster of reclaiming your focus. If you've already started implementing the strategies from our previous chapter, you might be experiencing some unexpected feelings. anxiety when your phone isn't within reach, a strange emptiness during quiet moments, or even guilt about not being always available. These reactions aren't just normal, they're actually signs that you're making progress. The withdrawal effect. Here's something fascinating. The emotional discomfort you feel when disconnecting from constant stimulation mirrors the patterns of withdrawal from other dopamine-driven behaviors. Your brain, accustomed to a steady stream of digital rewards, protests when that stream slows down. It's like your mind is throwing a tantrum, demanding its usual fix of quick-hit entertainment and social validation. I remember my first attempt at a digital detox weekend. Within hours, I felt genuinely anxious. My hands kept reaching for a phone that wasn't there. I felt simultaneously restless and lethargic, as if my brain didn't quite know what to do with itself. Most surprisingly, I felt a deep sense of FOMO, fear of missing out, even though rationally, I knew nothing crucial would happen in those 2 days. Understanding these reactions as normal biological responses rather than personal failings is crucial. You're not weak for feeling uncomfortable. You're human. Your brain is simply doing what it's been trained to do, seek the next hit of novelty and stimulation. The 5 stages of attention recovery. Stage 1. Resistance. The initial pushback from your mind when you start reducing digital stimulation. You might feel irritable, anxious, or unusually bored. This typically lasts 2-4 days. Stage 2. Restlessness. As the initial resistance fades, you enter a period of restless energy. Your mind, no longer constantly occupied, might feel like a caged animal pacing back and forth. This is actually a sign of your brain beginning to reset. Stage 3. Recalibration. Around the 1-week mark, many people experience a subtle shift. The constant urge to check devices diminishes, and you might start noticing details in your environment that you previously missed. Stage 4. Rediscovery. This is where things get interesting. Activities that once seemed boring, reading a book, taking a walk, or simply sitting in quiet reflection, begin to feel engaging again. Your brain is rediscovering its natural capacity for sustained attention. Stage 5. Integration. The final stage is about finding balance. You're no longer fighting against technology, but using it intentionally. The anxiety of disconnecting fades, replaced by a sense of agency over your attention. Managing emotional triggers. Understanding your personal triggers is crucial for long-term success. These are the emotional states that typically drive you toward distraction. Stress response. When work pressure builds, the temptation to escape into mindless scrolling intensifies. Instead of fighting this urge, acknowledge the stress and choose a more intentional break. A short walk, deep breathing, or even just looking out the window for a few minutes. Social anxiety. The fear of missing important messages or appearing unavailable to others is the common trigger. Combat this by setting clear boundaries with colleagues and friends. Most people respect explicit communication about your focus periods. Boredom avoidance. Many of us have lost the ability to be comfortably bored, yet boredom is often the gateway to deeper thinking and creativity. Practice sitting with the discomfort of unstructured time rather than immediately seeking stimulation. The role of self-compassion. Here's a truth that took me years to learn. Harsh self-criticism about your attention habits only makes improvement harder. When you catch yourself falling into old patterns, checking your phone mindlessly or toggling between tasks, respond with curiosity rather than judgment. Instead of thinking, "I'm so unfocused, I'll never get better at this," try, "Interesting, I noticed myself getting distracted. What was happening right before that?" This investigative approach yields valuable insights about your triggers while maintaining the emotional resilience necessary for long-term change. Building an emotional support system. Attention training doesn't have to be a solitary journey. Consider accountability partners. Find someone who shares your goal of improving their attention span. Regular check-ins can provide motivation and a space to discuss challenges. Digital wellness groups. Many communities, both online and offline, focus on healthy technology use. Sharing experiences with others who understand the struggle can be incredibly validating. Professional support. If attention issues are significantly impacting your life, consider working with a therapist who specializes in digital wellness. They can help you address underlying emotional patterns that drive distraction. The power of micro wins. Celebrating small victories is crucial for emotional resilience. Each time you complete a task without checking your phone, notice yourself getting distracted and consciously refocus. Choose to read for 30 minutes instead of scrolling social media. Have a conversation without glancing at your device. These are wins worth acknowledging. They might seem insignificant in isolation, but they represent the rebuilding of neural pathways that support sustained attention. Handling setbacks. Setbacks aren't failures, they're feedback. Maybe you maintained great focus for a week, then spent an entire evening lost in a social media spiral. Instead of seeing this as a failure, treat it as data. What triggered the spiral? What could you do differently next time? Each setback is an opportunity to refine your approach. I found it helpful to keep a simple journal of these moments. Not to berate myself, but to identify patterns and adjust strategies accordingly. Often, what seems like a willpower issue is actually a system issue, a need to adjust your environment or routines to better support your attention goals. Looking forward, as we move toward Chapter 5, we'll explore how to maintain your improved attention span in a world that's constantly evolving to be more distracting. You'll learn advanced techniques for protecting your focus while staying engaged with the digital tools that genuinely enhance your life. Remember, the emotional challenges you're facing aren't obstacles to progress. They're part of the process. Each moment of discomfort is evidence of your brain rewiring itself, building the neural architecture that supports sustained, meaningful attention. You're listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Thoughts of Growth. Let's continue our journey toward reclaiming your focus and mental clarity. Chapter 5. Advanced Attention Mastery. Welcome to the next level of attention training. If you've made it this far, you've already built a solid foundation, understanding the science of attention, implementing essential strategies, and navigating the emotional landscape of change. Now it's time to explore advanced techniques that will help you not just maintain, but enhance your attention capabilities in an increasingly distracting world. The evolution of distraction. Here's an uncomfortable truth. The tools competing for your attention are getting smarter every day. Social media algorithms are becoming more sophisticated, notifications more personalized, and content more engaging. The attention economy isn't just growing, it's evolving, learning to bypass our defenses and hook us in new ways. I noticed this recently when my carefully crafted focus routine started feeling less effective. Apps I'd previously found easy to ignore were suddenly more compelling, using new features and triggers that seemed to know exactly when I was most vulnerable to distraction. That's when I realized, maintaining attention isn't about finding a perfect system and sticking to it forever. It's about staying adaptable and continuing to evolve our strategies. The 3 pillars of advanced attention. Pillar 1, environmental design. The most sophisticated attention strategies work by making focus the path of least resistance. Instead of relying solely on willpower, we need to create environments that naturally support sustained attention. Digital environment engineering. Create separate user profiles on your devices, one for focused work, stripped of all non-essential apps and notifications, and another for leisure. Use website blockers that adapt to your usage patterns, becoming stricter during your peak productivity hours. Set up automated workflows that temporarily disable distracting features during designated focus periods. Physical space optimization. Design different areas for different types of attention, a high-focus workspace, a creative thinking area, and a relaxation zone. Use lighting to signal different attention states to your brain. Bright, cool light for focused work. Warm, dim light for relaxation. Incorporate plants and natural elements that have been shown to improve attention and cognitive function. Pillar 2, cognitive enhancement. Beyond basic attention management, we can actively strengthen our cognitive capabilities through targeted exercises and techniques. Attention interval training. Just as athletes use interval training to improve physical performance, we can use similar principles for attention. Start with 25 minutes of focused work, followed by 5 minutes of complete disengagement. Gradually increase the focus periods to 45, 60, or even 90 minutes. During rest periods, engage in activities that fully disconnect you from your work. Short walks, stretching, or brief meditation. Mental stamina building. Practice attention switching, deliberately moving between different types of focus, analytical, creative, reflective, with clean transitions. Engage in complexity training by gradually increasing the difficulty of tasks you can handle while maintaining focus. Develop background process awareness, the ability to notice when your mind starts to wander without breaking your primary focus. Pillar 3, strategic integration. The highest level of attention mastery isn't about avoiding distractions. It's about integrating focused attention with the realities of modern life. The mindful tech approach. Instead of demonizing technology, learn to use it with intention. Create tech alignment periods where you audit your digital tools and adjust them to better serve your goals. Develop personal algorithms for when and how to engage with different types of content. Advanced implementation techniques. The 90-STEM principle. Dedicate 90% of your attention to your primary task while maintaining 10% awareness of your environment. This prevents the pendulum swing between hyperfocus and complete distraction. Example, during deep work, maintain just enough awareness to notice if someone needs your urgent attention without letting every small interruption break your flow. The attention anchor system. Create specific triggers that instantly shift you into different attention modes. A particular piece of music that signals deep focus time. A physical gesture that marks the transition between tasks. A specific location in your space that's associated with sustained attention. Progressive loading. Just as you wouldn't try to lift your maximum weight without warming up, don't jump straight into your most demanding focus tasks. Start your day with moderately challenging tasks to warm up your attention. Gradually increase task complexity as your focus strengthens. Save your most demanding work for when your attention is at its peak. The art of productive distraction. Sometimes distraction isn't the enemy. It's a signal that your brain needs variety. The key is learning to distinguish between destructive and productive distractions. Destructive distractions, mindless scrolling, reactive task switching, attention fragmenting activities. Productive distractions, strategic breaks that enhance creativity, movement that energizes your body and mind, brief social interactions that provide perspective, advanced recovery techniques. Even with masterful attention skills, you'll occasionally need to reset your focus. Here are advanced recovery strategies. The mental reset protocol. When you notice your attention severely fragmenting, 1. Acknowledge the state without judgment. 2. Perform a quick physical pattern. Interrupt, stand up, stretch, or change position. 3. Take 3 deliberate breaths. 4. Restate your current priority aloud. 5. Re-engage with a small, manageable task, the Focus Emergency Kit. Develop a set of go-to interventions for when your attention feels particularly scattered. A specific type of puzzle that requires just enough focus to reset your mind. A brief meditation sequence designed for attention recovery. A physical movement routine that helps clear mental static. Maintaining peak performance. Think of your attention like a high-performance engine. It needs regular maintenance and occasional fine-tuning. Daily calibration. Start each day by setting clear attention intentions. Schedule regular check-ins to assess your focus quality. End each day with a brief reflection on your attention patterns. Weekly optimization. Review and adjust your attention strategies based on the previous week's experiences. Identify patterns in when and why your focus wavers. Plan the coming week with your peak attention periods in mind. Monthly evolution. Assess which strategies are working and which need refinement. Experiment with new attention enhancement techniques. Update your systems to address emerging challenges. Looking forward, as we move toward our final chapter, we'll explore how to share these attention mastery skills with others, whether you're a parent, teacher, manager, or simply someone who wants to help friends and family reclaim their focus in an increasingly distracting world. Remember, the goal isn't to achieve perfect attention. It's to develop such sophisticated attention skills that you can navigate any situation with intention and purpose. Each new challenge is an opportunity to refine your approach and deepen your mastery. You're listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Thoughts of Growth. Let's continue our journey toward reclaiming your focus and mental clarity. Chapter 6. Creating a Focus-Driven Future. We've reached a pivotal moment in our journey. You've mastered the fundamentals of attention, implemented essential strategies, navigated the emotional landscape, and developed advanced techniques. Now comes perhaps the most important challenge, helping others reclaim their attention in a world that's increasingly designed to fragment it. Think about the last time you were fully present in a conversation, not just physically there, but mentally and emotionally engaged. Remember how that made the other person feel? That's the power of focused attention. It doesn't just transform our own experience, it transforms the experiences of those around us. I witnessed this transformation firsthand while working with a group of high school students. One student's journey to improve his attention span didn't just raise his grades, it changed the entire classroom dynamic. Other students noticed his increased engagement and began to follow suit. Within months, the teacher reported a remarkable shift in the whole class's ability to sustain focus during lessons. The family unit is where attention habits are first formed and where they can be most powerfully reshaped. For young children, it starts with creating what I call attention anchors, specific times and places for focused activities. Think of reading time before bed or a special corner of the house designated for quiet play. These early experiences lay the foundation for a lifetime of healthy attention habits. With school-aged children, we shift our approach. Now we're teaching them to understand their own attention patterns. I love using the attention muscle metaphor with kids this age. Just like they can make their arms stronger by doing push-ups, they can strengthen their focus through practice. One parent I worked with created a brilliant system where her children would train their attention muscles through increasingly longer reading sessions, celebrating each milestone like they would a sports achievement. Teenagers face unique challenges in our digital age. They're navigating a world designed to fragment their attention, with social media platforms competing for every moment of their time. But here's what's fascinating. When we help teens understand the psychology behind these platforms, how they're designed to be addictive, many become motivated to take control. It becomes a form of rebellion against manipulation, which appeals to their natural desire for autonomy. In educational environments, we need to recognize that traditional classroom settings often work against natural attention patterns. I've seen remarkable transformations when schools implement what I call attention-aware scheduling. This means structuring the day around our natural focus rhythms rather than arbitrary time blocks. For instance, scheduling the most challenging subjects during peak attention hours, typically mid-morning, and incorporating movement breaks when attention naturally wanes. The workplace presents its own set of challenges. I recently worked with a tech company struggling with what they called meeting fatigue. By implementing attention protective practices like mandatory buffer times between meetings and deep work blocks where no interruptions were allowed, they saw a 40% increase in reported productivity and, interestingly, a significant improvement in employee satisfaction. The digital revolution has transformed how we work, learn, and live. But here's the key insight. Technology itself isn't the enemy. It's about creating what I call a personal digital ecology, a thoughtful arrangement of when and how we use our devices. Think of it like designing a garden. You wouldn't let weeds grow wherever they want. You create intentional spaces for each plant to thrive. Similarly, we need to create intentional spaces for different types of digital engagement. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. Sarah, a creative director I worked with, was struggling with constant digital interruptions. Instead of trying to eliminate technology from her workflow, we created what she called her digital zones. Her morning hours became a creation zone, with all notifications turned off. Midday was her connection zone for meetings and emails. And late afternoon became her curation zone for social media and industry research. This simple restructuring transformed her relationship with technology from one of conflict to one of purposeful engagement. The future of attention isn't about returning to some pre-digital paradise. It's about creating new ways of being present in an increasingly connected world. Think of it like learning to swim in a faster moving river. We don't try to stop the river, we become better swimmers. You're listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Thoughts of Growth. Let's continue our journey toward reclaiming your focus and mental clarity. Chapter 7. The Art of Deep Implementation. Picture this. You're sitting in a high-stakes meeting, your phone buzzing with notifications, emails flooding in, and your mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, you're calm, focused, and in complete control. This isn't just a fantasy, it's the reality of someone who has mastered deep implementation of attention training. Let me tell you about Alex, a surgeon who reached out to me last year. During complex procedures, he noticed his mind wandering to his upcoming vacation, his kids' school events, or the latest hospital politics. These micro-distractions weren't just inconvenient, they were potentially dangerous. Through the techniques I'm about to share, he transformed his ability to maintain unwavering focus during 12-hour surgeries. But here's the twist. These same principles work whether you're performing brain surgery or trying to read a book without checking your phone. Most people approach attention training like a diet. They white-knuckle their way through it, relying purely on willpower. They might last a few days, maybe even a few weeks. But eventually, they snap back to their old patterns. Why? Because they never addressed the underlying psychological architecture that maintains their distraction habits. Your brain operates in what I call the three minds framework. First, there's your survival mind, the ancient part of your brain constantly scanning for threats and rewards. In modern life, it interprets every notification as potentially important and every moment of boredom as a threat to your social status. Then, there's your social mind, craving connection and validation. It's what makes you check your phone during dinner, just in case someone needs you. Finally, there's your executive mind, your rational brain capable of long-term planning and delayed gratification. The key to deep implementation isn't about forcing these different aspects of your mind to submit to your will. Instead, it's about getting them to work together. Let me show you how this works in practice. I worked with a day trader who struggled with maintaining focus during crucial market hours. We created what I call an attention anchor method. Every morning, he sits down, assumes his trading posture, performs a specific breathing pattern, and plays carefully selected background music. These aren't just arbitrary rituals, they're signals to his survival mind that it's safe to focus, to his social mind that connection time will come later, and to his executive mind that it's time to perform. Another client, a social media manager, transformed her relationship with attention by reframing it as a competitive advantage. Instead of seeing focus as a restriction, she began viewing it as her superpower, the ability to dive deep while others skim the surface. This status shift completely changed how her social mind related to focused attention. When you're facing a high-stakes situation, like presenting to the board of directors, you need more than just good intentions. You need a protocol. Before the meeting, perform your attention anchor routine. This might be 3 deep breaths, rolling your shoulders back, and silently stating your intention. During the meeting, use what I call micro-attention resets every 15 minutes. a quick check-in with your body and breath that brings you back to the present moment. For creative work, the approach is different but equally structured. Clear your physical and digital space first. This signals to your brain that it's time for something different. Then activate your creative anchor sequence. This might be playing specific music, lighting a candle, or simply arranging your tools in a particular way. The key is consistency. These rituals become powerful triggers for your focus state. Even with perfect implementation, you'll occasionally hit attention walls. That's normal. What matters is how quickly you recover. When you notice your attention breaking, don't fight it. Instead, acknowledge it, take a deep breath, and perform what I call the reset protocol, a quick series of actions that helps you regain your focus. Think of it like pressing a reset button on your attention. As your implementation deepens, you'll start noticing subtle but profound changes. Time begins to feel different. Hours can pass like minutes when you're in a flow state. Your decision-making becomes sharper, patterns emerge more clearly, and your emotional regulation improves. These aren't just productivity gains, they're fundamental shifts in how you experience and engage with the world. You're listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Thoughts of Growth. Let's continue our journey toward reclaiming your focus and mental clarity. Conclusion: the path forward. As we conclude this journey, remember that improving attention isn't just about personal productivity. It's about reclaiming our humanity in an increasingly fragmented world. Every person whose attention you help protect and strengthen becomes another node in a growing network of focused minds, creating ripples that extend far beyond individual improvement. The future of attention isn't about perfect focus or complete digital abstinence. It's about creating sustainable systems that allow us to harness the benefits of technology while protecting our capacity for deep thought, meaningful connection, and purposeful action. Your journey doesn't end here, it evolves. As you share these skills with others, you'll discover new insights, face new challenges, and develop new solutions. Each person you help becomes not just a beneficiary of your knowledge, but a potential innovator in the ongoing evolution of attention mastery. Remember, the goal isn't to create a world without distraction. It's to build a world where we can choose where our attention goes, use it purposefully, and protect it effectively. Every small change you help create brings us closer to that vision. Thank you for joining me on this journey to fix your attention span. Now go forth and help others reclaim theirs. Together, we can create a future where focused attention isn't just possible, it's the norm. You've been listening to How to Fix Your Attention Span by Thoughts of Growth. This concludes our journey toward reclaiming our focus and mental clarity. Thank you for your attention. Chapter 8, The $1 Billion Mind, Your Ultimate Transformation. Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. What if I told you that your scattered attention isn't just costing you focus? It's literally costing you a fortune. Not just in money, but in life-changing opportunities that slip by while you're lost in the fog of distraction. I recently worked with a software engineer. Let's call him Michael. He was brilliant, but constantly distracted, jumping between tasks, his mind always racing. Sound familiar? Here's where it gets interesting. After implementing the attention mastery techniques you've learned in this audiobook, he didn't just become more focused, he had a breakthrough that led to a $2.3 million acquisition of his side project. Why? Because for the first time, he could think deeply enough to solve complex problems that others couldn't even see. But this isn't just about money, it's about something far more valuable, your life's potential, the hidden cost of distraction. Think about the last great idea you had. What happened to it? If you're like most people, it probably got lost in the daily tsunami of notifications, emails, and urgent tasks. Now multiply that by every day of your working life. That's not just lost productivity, those are lost dreams, buried under an avalanche of distraction. The $1 million attention formula. I've discovered something fascinating in my research. There's a direct correlation between attention span and breakthrough success. It's what I call the $1 million attention formula. Focused attention, X time X complexity equals sign exponential results. Here's why this formula matters. While others skim the surface, bouncing between tasks like a pinball, you'll now have the ability to dive deep, to see patterns others miss, to solve problems others can't even comprehend. This isn't just an advantage, it's your superpower, the attention elite. You're about to join what I call the attention elite, a growing group of individuals who've mastered their focus in a world of chaos. These aren't just CEOs or entrepreneurs. They're artists creating masterpieces while others scroll Instagram, writers producing breakthrough novels while others binge Netflix, and innovators solving humanity's biggest challenges while others drift through their days in a distracted haze. Your next level transformation. Remember Alex, our surgeon from the previous chapter? 6 months after mastering these techniques, he didn't just improve his focus, he revolutionized his entire surgical department's approach to complex procedures, saving countless lives in the process. But here's what's truly remarkable. The same principles that helped him maintain focus during brain surgery are the ones you can use to transform any area of your life. The ultimate implementation protocol. 1. The morning mastery ritual. Start your day with what I call the focus foundation. 5. 3 minutes of focused breathing. 5 minutes of intention setting. 7 minutes of priority alignment. 2 minutes of environment optimization. 3 minutes of energy activation. This isn't just another morning routine, it's a neural reset that primes your brain for exceptional performance. 2. The deep work revolution. Transform your workspace into what I call a focus factory. Create attention zones for different types of work. Implement progressive focus blocks, 30, 60, 90 minutes. Use advanced recovery protocols between sessions. 3. The attention compound effect. Small improvements in focus compound dramatically over time. Week 1, 2. Basic focus enhancement. Month 1. Noticeable productivity gains. Month 3. Breakthrough insights begin. Month 6. Complete attention transformation. Year 1. Life-changing results. The future you're building. Imagine waking up 6 months from now. Your mind is clear, focused, and sharp as a laser. You're not just more productive, you're operating at a level that seemed impossible before. Projects that used to take weeks now flow effortlessly. Ideas that once scattered like leaves in the wind now crystallize into clear action plans. But here's what really matters. This isn't just about personal achievement. As you master these techniques, you become a beacon for others. Your focused presence creates a ripple effect, inspiring and elevating everyone around you. You become a living example of what's possible when you reclaim your attention in a distracted world. The billion-dollar question. So here's the question that will determine your future. Are you ready to step into your full potential? To join the ranks of the attention elite? To transform not just your focus, but your entire life? The techniques you've learned in this audiobook aren't just strategies. They're keys to unlocking a level of performance and fulfillment that most people never experience. But knowledge isn't enough. It's what you do next that matters. Your next steps. 1. Implementation challenge. Start with our 21-day attention mastery challenge. Each day builds on the last, creating an unshakable foundation of focus. You'll find the complete challenge guide at thoughtsofgrowth.com/focus-challenge. 2. Community support. Join our exclusive Focus Masters community, where you'll connect with others on this journey, share insights, and get direct access to new techniques as we develop them. 3. Advanced training. For those ready to take their mastery even further. Explore our advanced programs. The Attention Elite Mastermind, Focus Flow State Training, High Performance Attention Coaching. Final thoughts? Your billion-dollar transformation begins now. Let me leave you with a thought that might change everything. What if I told you that mastering your attention isn't just about focus? It's about unlocking your life's full potential. Every great achievement, every breakthrough innovation, every meaningful connection starts with the ability to direct and sustain your attention. Think about the most successful people you know or admire. What sets them apart isn't just talent or luck, it's their ability to focus deeply on what matters most. They've mastered what I call the billion-dollar mind, the capacity to think clearly and act decisively in a world of endless distraction. Your journey doesn't end here. In fact, this is just the beginning. Visit thoughtsofgrowth.com/next-level to access exclusive bonus content and join our community of Focus Masters. Together, we'll turn your improved attention into extraordinary achievements. Remember, your focus is your future. Guard it, train it, master it. As we conclude this transformative journey, I want to share something profound. What we've created together isn't just a set of techniques, it's a new way of being. In this cacophony of notifications, feeds, and endless digital noise, you've discovered something precious: the power to choose presence over chaos. Think about how far you've come. You started as someone swimming in the overwhelming current of digital distraction. Now you stand as a master of your attention, capable of diving deep when others merely skim the surface. This isn't just about productivity or success, though you'll find both in abundance. It's about reclaiming your humanity in an increasingly fragmented world. Every time you choose focused presence over scattered attention, you create ripples that extend far beyond yourself. In meetings, people notice your unwavering engagement. In conversations, others feel truly heard. In your creative work, you access depths that were previously unreachable. You've become a living example of what's possible when we choose to live with intention. Remember, your attention isn't just a productivity tool. It's the lens through which you experience your entire life. The sharper this lens, the richer your experience becomes. Colors seem more vivid. Conversations feel more meaningful. Ideas flow with unprecedented clarity. This is the gift of the focused mind. The skills you've developed aren't just valuable, they're priceless. In an age where sustained attention becomes increasingly rare, your ability to focus deeply becomes your ultimate competitive advantage. But more than that, it becomes your legacy, the way you'll impact the world, inspire others, and create lasting change. This isn't the end, it's a powerful beginning. Your journey toward mastery has just begun, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Visit thoughtsofgrowth.com/next-level to access. Remember, each morning presents a new opportunity to choose presence over distraction, depth over superficiality, meaning over noise. When you feel pulled back into old patterns, and you will because you're human, don't view it as failure. See it as a gentle reminder to return to your center, to breathe, and to recommit to the extraordinary life you're creating. Your next chapter begins now. As you close this audiobook, know that you carry within you everything needed to transform your attention into achievement, your focus into fulfillment, and your presence into power. The tools are yours. The knowledge is yours. The future, bright with possibility, is yours to create. Thank you for sharing this profound journey. May your path forward be marked by clarity, purpose, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can direct your attention wherever you choose, whenever you choose. This book is reminding you that extraordinary achievement begins with extraordinary attention. Until we meet again, stay focused, stay present, and keep transforming your world, one moment of attention at a time. Thank you for your attention, and remember, your focus isn't just your future, it's your legacy.